The words hit me like a physical blow, sharp and cutting through the excitement I had carried into that small, cramped audition room in Johannesburg. We are looking for someone more marketable. I was 12 years old, standing there in my mother's carefully chosen dress, my hair braided with ribbons she had spent an hour perfecting that morning. The casting coordinator's eyes moved across my dark skin like she was cataloging every flaw, every reason why I did not belong in her world of lights and cameras. That single moment shattered something inside me that I would spend decades trying to rebuild. But let me tell you how that same rejection became the foundation of my empire. Growing up in Johannesburg, I had always been told I was beautiful. My grandmother would hold my face in her weathered hands and whisper about how my skin glowed like polished obsidian. My mother would braid my hair while telling me stories of queens who looked just like me, who ruled kingdoms with grace and power. But the modeling world had different stories to tell. After that first audition, I thought it was just one person's opinion. I was young, naive, hopeful. I kept going to castings, kept believing that someone would see what my family saw. But the rejections came like clockwork, each one more crushing than the last. Not the right look for our brand. We need someone who photographs better. Have you considered lightening up? And they were not talking about my personality. The worst part was not the rejection itself. It was the way they made me feel like my very existence was wrong. Like the melanin in my skin was a mistake I needed to apologize for. Like the features my ancestors had passed down to me were something to hide rather than celebrate. By the time I turned 24, I had given up completely. The dream that had once burned so bright inside me had been extinguished by 1,000 small cuts. Each casting call another reminder that I was not what they wanted. I packed away my portfolio, threw out the comp cards, and tried to convince myself that I had never really wanted to be a model anyway. I found work in marketing instead, pouring my creativity into campaigns for other people's dreams. It was safe, predictable work that paid the bills and asked nothing of my appearance beyond showing up in business attire. For years, I convinced myself I was content. But contentment and happiness are not the same thing. Every morning, I would walk past those same billboards that had once represented my dreams. Beautiful faces stared down at me from every corner, selling everything from perfume to cars to designer clothes. And not one of them looked like me. The anger I had buried so deep began to simmer again. Then one ordinary Tuesday morning, my best friend Kaya burst into my office with news that would change everything. "Amara, you have to see this," she said, shoving her phone in my face. "That huge skincare company Lumina Beauty, they are launching a global diversity campaign. They want real women with real skin to represent them." I stared at the casting call announcement, reading the words over and over. Authentic beauty in every shade. No retouching, no filters, just you. We believe beautiful comes in every color. The irony was not lost on me. After years of being told my skin was wrong, here was a company claiming they wanted exactly what I had been rejected for. "You have to apply," Kaya insisted, her eyes bright with excitement. "Absolutely not," I replied, handing her phone back. "I am done with that world, remember? I have a good job, a stable life. Why would I put myself through that again?" But Kaya would not let it go. For days, she pestered me, sending me screenshots of the campaign details, showing me examples of other women who looked like us finally getting the recognition they deserved. "What if this time is different?" she asked during one of our coffee breaks. "What if this is your chance to show them what they missed?" The question haunted me. What if it was different? What if after all these years, the industry was finally ready to embrace women who looked like me? Against every instinct screaming at me to protect myself from more disappointment, I submitted my application. One photo, no makeup, no professional lighting, just me in my apartment bathroom mirror, my natural skin glowing under the harsh fluorescent lights. I hit send before I could change my mind. 3 weeks later, they called. Walking into that Manhattan office building felt like stepping back into a nightmare. My palms were sweating, my heart was racing, and every old insecurity came flooding back. I had to remind myself that I was not the same scared 12-year-old who had walked into that first audition. I was a successful marketing professional. I had built a career, earned respect, created value. But none of that mattered when I saw who was leading the campaign. Marcus Wellington. The same man who had looked at me 15 years earlier and declared that my look would never sell. Older now, graying at the temples, but unmistakably the same person who had crushed my dreams with such casual cruelty. I watched his face as I walked into the conference room, saw the moment of recognition flash across his features. He knew exactly who I was, and for just a second, I saw something that might have been shame flicker in his eyes. But I had not come this far to shrink away. Amara Dlamini, I said, extending my hand with a confidence I had spent years building. Thank you for this opportunity. The audition process was unlike anything I had experienced before. Instead of asking me to pose or perform, they wanted to hear my story. They wanted to know about my relationship with my skin, my experiences with beauty standards, my journey to self-acceptance. I found myself talking about my grandmother, about the queens in my mother's stories, about the years I spent believing I was not enough. I talked about the marketing campaigns I had created, the brands I had helped build, the perspective I could bring to their message. And as I spoke, I watched their faces change. I saw them lean in, take notes, exchange glances that spoke of excitement rather than dismissal. 2 days later, they called again. Congratulations, Amara. We would like you to be the face of our global campaign. The words did not feel real. After years of rejection, after building walls around my heart to protect it from more disappointment, success felt foreign, almost suspicious. Just to be clear, I said, needing to hear it again. You want me exactly as I am, to represent your brand internationally? Exactly as you are, confirmed Sarah Chun, the creative director. Your skin, your story, your strength. That is what beautiful looks like to us. The photo shoot was a revelation. For the first time in my life, I was in a room full of professionals who saw my dark skin as an asset, not an obstacle. The photographer captured images that made me see myself the way my grandmother had always seen me. Radiant, powerful, undeniably beautiful. When the billboards went up, I could not believe my eyes. There I was 50 feet tall in Times Square, my face glowing with confidence and joy. The tagline beneath read, "Beautiful comes in every shade," in bold, unapologetic letters. But it was the billboard in Johannesburg that meant the most to me. They had placed it directly across from the modeling agency that had rejected me all those years ago. Every morning, the same people who had once told me I was unmarketable would have to look up at my face beaming down at them. The campaign exploded across social media. Women from around the world shared their own stories of rejection and resilience, tagging the brand and thanking them for finally representing beauty that looked like them. My follower count went from a few hundred to several 100,000 in a matter of weeks. But the real victory came when the numbers started rolling in. Lumina Beauty reported their highest sales quarter in company history. The products I was promoting sold out in stores across 3 continents. Other beauty brands began reaching out, wanting to partner with me, wanting to capture some of the authenticity and connection I had brought to Lumina's message. Within 6 months, I had become the official ambassador for 3 major beauty companies. My face was everywhere, magazines, websites, television commercials, and most satisfyingly, on billboards in every major city I had once dreamed of conquering. The modeling agency that had rejected me finally reached out. The email was carefully crafted, full of corporate speak about evolving beauty standards and their commitment to inclusivity and diversity. They wanted me to mentor their new models of color, to help them navigate an industry that was finally changing. I stared at that email for a long time, remembering the 12-year-old girl who would have done anything for their approval. But that girl was gone, replaced by a woman who had learned to create her own opportunities, to define her own worth. I did not reply to their email. Instead, I sent a care package. Inside, I included products from every brand I represented, each one carefully chosen to celebrate and enhance dark skin. I included a handwritten note that simply read, "For when you finally see the beauty you missed." The package was delivered on a Tuesday morning, the same day a new billboard featuring my face went up directly outside their office windows. I happened to be walking by when the delivery arrived, and I could not resist stopping to watch through the glass doors as they opened the package. I saw the recognition on their faces, saw them look up at my billboard, then back down at the products in their hands. One of them, I think it was the same coordinator who had rejected me all those years ago, came to the window and looked up at my image towering above their building. For a moment, our eyes met through the glass, and I saw something I had never seen from her before. Respect. That evening, I stood on my balcony overlooking the city, looking out at the lights and the life pulsing through Johannesburg's streets. Somewhere out there were other young girls who looked like me, who dreamed like me, who were being told they were not enough. But now they could look up and see a different story written across the skyline. They could see that rejection is not the end of the story. It is just the beginning of a better one. The little girl who was told she was too dark to be marketable had grown into a woman who lit up billboards across 6 continents. The skin that was once called unmarketable now represented millions of dollars in global beauty campaigns. I had not just broken through their barriers, I had shattered them completely, creating space for every girl who would come after me. Every morning now, when I walk past that street where it all began, I see my face glowing down from multiple billboards, each one a testament to the power of refusing to accept someone else's limited vision of your worth. I did not just light up their block. I burned down every limitation they had ever tried to place on me. And from those ashes, I built an empire that redefined what beautiful could look like. And this is just the beginning. If this story of resilience, determination, and ultimate triumph inspired you, please subscribe to our channel for more incredible real-life stories that celebrate the power of perseverance. Hit that subscribe button and the bell icon to never miss stories of ordinary people achieving extraordinary things. Your support helps us continue sharing these powerful narratives that remind us all that our greatest obstacles can become our most beautiful victories. Subscribe now and join our community of dreamers and achievers.